Welcome everyone to Growth Sessions. We are here today with Daniel Millar, co-founder and chief growth officer of Beekeeper's Naturals. Daniel, welcome. It's great to have you.
It is an absolute pleasure, Adam.
Love it. Daniel, I'd love to learn, what exactly does a chief growth officer do? And what is Beekeeper's Naturals?
Great question. Let's start with Beekeeper's Naturals. We're reinventing the medicine cabinet using clean and effective natural products, really focused around the beehive and propolis in particular, and really coming at this world of medicine from a proactive and a reactive perspective. So we're giving you things you can take every day to really feel your best, and then we're also there for you in your time of need.
And for people that don't know what a propolis is or what propolis is, what exactly is it?
It goes by many names, propolis, depending where you are from around the world. This strict definition, it means defender of the city, coined by Aristotle, who is, I think, a pretty smart guy.
All right.
Honey bees will go collect nectar from flowers and bring it back to the hive, and that is an energy or food source for them. Propolis, bees will go out and collect tree resins and plant resins, which are the defenders of these trees and these plants, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral properties, and they will bring it back to the hive, and then they will coat the hive in it. So it's really defending the hive from bacteria, parasites, fungus, you name it, and it has really amazing properties for humans as well.
Very cool. And your role as chief growth officer?
Chief growth officer. So as a chief growth officer, I'm really overseeing our Amazon and our D2C business. And I also work very closely with our retail and marketing teams.
Cool. And so your journey into e-commerce retailers in particular presumably began and still continues to be primarily with Amazon, as you mentioned. I'm curious to know, you've been on Amazon and a variety of different properties for many years now. How did that journey begin? When did you know to get onto Amazon? Presumably it was after D2C. D2C came first and then Amazon came thereafter. How did that journey begin?
So we really launched as a D2C first company. That's where we felt we could control the story, really speak about the brand, educate. A lot of education is required with our company and our products. And we also really are focused on doing things to save the bees. And the website was the first place we really put our time and effort into. We launched on Amazon at the same time.
When is this approximately?
Say 2018.
Okay.
I wouldn't say we gave it our full focus. The team was very lean at the time and very scrappy, and we were all doing a ton of different things, wearing a lot of different hats, as one does in the early days of a startup. I really wouldn't say until the last 2 years and even this year where we really started to prioritize Amazon and put a ton of our time and effort there. And I've really been focusing there this last year.
Cool. And so your journey onto Amazon has also been a journey of working with a variety of partners along the way over these past 4 years, from 2018 to now. I believe it began with working with a full service Amazon agency, Cartograph, who we both know quite well. Awesome folks. Why did you initially seek to work out with Cartograph? And why did you initially say, hey, let's use a full service agency rather than work on some of those things in-house and complement that with other ancillary agencies?
Great question. I think early on, and I think many companies will do this, you bring in experts, you outsource experts. It's usually easier to find these different partners versus hiring that expertise in-house, especially earlier on. And Chris and John at Cartograph, two of the smartest guys I know, related to Amazon and in general. And so for us, they were great people. We spent some time with them, and it was a no-brainer to trust them to really run the Amazon business for us. And in hindsight, great decision. Still close with both of them, and as I know you are, and really sharp guys and two of the best when it comes to Amazon.
And when you're in this like infancy to Amazon stage, how did you think about ratios between Amazon and D2C? What was healthy then and what was important to you at that time? This is 2018, 2019.
I'd say early on, we weren't really focused on ratios. A lot of it had to do with building our customer base and our audience, building our email list, building our SMS list. That was something that we were really focused on, where we could have this really constant communication with a customer, which I still think is an amazing part of having your own website in D2C, whether you're driving that then to Amazon or keeping people on your own D2C website. So that was really one of the main drivers. And this was also the time of the Facebook party where you could really do some amazing things with Facebook pre-iOS 14. That's where we were seeing really great efficiency on the marketing front as well, even more than Amazon.
And most of those advertising campaigns would drive back to D2C.
Yeah, everything was focused on D2C. I think we treated Amazon at the time as like its own world where people on Amazon and find the products on Amazon will buy on Amazon versus viewing everything as let the customer buy it where they want to buy it.
Were those ads managed in-house or via an agency?
We had an agency for that as well.
And so if we think about those advertising platforms, we have Amazon advertising and then the combination of Facebook and Instagram. What would you say the ratio? I'm going to ask a lot of ratio questions. It's a fun way to think about businesses evolving over time. What would you say the ratio of budgets were across Facebook and Instagram relative to all Amazon ad spend?
Great question. I would say that D2C was well over double, both in size and in performance marketing, maybe even more in performance marketing. I think we knew that people would come to our website and go to Amazon. So that probably impacted, let's focus where we have this really great efficiency, where we can really have this full funnel approach. I think for D2C with Facebook and all these other tactics there, I would say DSP was still maybe in its earlier days.
Amazon DSP.
Yeah, Amazon DSP, I would say, was a little bit in its early days back then and a lot more robust now with data and all that stuff, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Let's talk about it. You jumped in really early on to Amazon DSP relative to most advertisers. You've been advertising on a self-serve basis, i.e. not with Amazon's managed service on the Amazon DSP for almost 3.5 years. What initially brought you onto that? I think that there was a high degree of trepidation in this space associated with Amazon DSP. A lot of people had horror stories of they spent the $35K minimum and there was no sales whatsoever. What initially brought you onto that, and why have you continued to double down on Amazon DSP?
I still, even yesterday, talking to a whole bunch of founders and people running some amazing Amazon businesses, I think I'd say the hardcore, maybe earlier guard of Amazon is really living in the PPC and AMS world and sponsored products, all those amazing advertising vehicles. Now, nobody's wrong. I think it's just people are so used to just being that hardcore PPC. Let's compare it to Google search or something like that. And you can really see the numbers. You can really track all these metrics. And I think you can now with DSP. It's very conversion driven. And so I think some of the hardcore old guard, not old guard, also new guard, but I think some of these people, they live and breathe PPC and they want to put all their money there and focus on top of search, what have you, which I think is a really great part of a strategy. But for us, where we're building a brand and telling a story, keywords and search can't do that on their own. So I think with DSP, we saw narrator. Brand is extremely important to us. We're really proud of our brand. We have a story to tell. We have a very diverse product line. And so using DSP and being able to do custom creatives there was a real focus for us, and video as well. We've really been focusing there recently, but being able to tell a story, build a brand, educate, I think that was, at least for us earlier on, more difficult on Amazon. As we've been able to do that more, get more custom with your landing pages, your brand store page, I think that has been amazing, I think, for Amazon and for the consumer, and we've really been doubling down there.
Got it. I get it. Amazon DSP and Amazon now is becoming a brand building channel. Totally get that. And as much as I love hearing you say that, and the folks at Amazon love hearing you say that.
We love Perpetua.
I know that nothing makes you more excited than a big juicy ROAS.
I can't help it. Guilty.
How do you reconcile this allure of getting a great ROAS on Amazon DSP versus the brand building mechanisms of the Amazon DSP as well?
Yeah, we have this world on one end of like EMV and impressions of consideration, top of funnel, and then of course ROAS and conversion. I think for us, still taking a bit to get there, but when we look at video, we're really just looking at CTR and DPVR and focusing on driving those eyeballs to the landing page. I know some will argue we should really be looking at impressions more. I think we're a little more lower funnel, making sure we're actually getting people to those landing pages. AMC, sure, everybody's talking about AMC these days. I know everybody's pumped up at Unboxed at the event we're at around AMC, but I do think that's also really helping you to see this customer journey in a way that you never could before, to understand the impact that video does have on the customer journey down the funnel, as everyone would assume it does. But this is really giving people now visual evidence and transparency into what their videos are doing at the top of the funnel.
As the
Still not great ROAS, but
as the gatekeeper of these budgets, are you, now that you're activating AMC, going back to the rest of your marketing team who are running more top of funnel campaigns outside of Amazon, saying, hey, we now have measurement that we never had before on full funnel Amazon strategy. We should be reallocating budgets from here, here, and here back into Amazon, in particular top of funnel tactics on Amazon?
Yeah, I think the leverage and control that you have with Amazon Video now, Prime Video and all these things are becoming more and more ubiquitous and part of everybody's streaming lives, or whatever you want to call it. That is something we're definitely evaluating. And the question is, are you putting that video budget to Amazon, or is that just your video budget for brand and you're running it on Amazon? And I think previously a lot of people would spend that on streaming TV or something like that. But now you can do that through Amazon and have really visibility and data that you wouldn't have had in any of these other places without super complex modeling that isn't available to everybody.
And so that's what Daniel, Chief Growth Officer, guy that manages Amazon business, says. If you were to wear your CMO's hat, what would your CMO say that when you're saying, hey, we should be doing this? How would you role play in that scenario here?
Did I say brand yet? Because she would say brand and customer first. And I think we've always thought customer first, but I think our amazing CMO has really brought a new level of focus beyond that. So where is the customer? Where are they watching things? Where can you connect with them? Beyond that, the placement medium doesn't matter. I think you can target the demographics wherever now. And so ultimately, I think that would be the key thing. So whether it's streaming TV, whether it's Hulu, whether it's Amazon, all these things, I think it's where is the customer, and let's make sure we're there to tell the story. And I would then pair that with, great, we have amazing data now in AMC and Amazon where we can really see this full customer journey. Let's try and direct more there.
Cool. Appreciate you getting nerdy down the DSP rabbit hole here. And so initially began working with Cartograph for your Amazon business. I know in and around, I forget the year, around 2019, you began working with pharma packs. Lots of folks are familiar with pharma packs.
Packable.
Now packable, or then packable. What was the allure of moving to pharma packs at the time? As a brand owner, when they reach out to you saying, hey, we want to begin distributing your products, I think distribute is the right word there.
Yeah.
What made you say, hey, this is a great opportunity for our business?
Pharma packs, packable. I think for us, a lot of really smart people there in leadership. We had some really great meetings with them. No doubt they have a lot of success on Amazon. We're distributing and selling some of the top brands and brands that we looked up to and really big CPG behemoths. And for us, some key features were, one, the ability to do some really cool sampling on Amazon. They're fulfilling a lot of things from their warehouse at the time. And so we could do some really unique and targeting sampling opportunities that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise in the channel, and treating them as a distributor in terms of how you're selling them the product and all of that. It is, from a P&L profit EBITDA perspective, a very attractive economic model.
And along this journey also, you raised a round in which Cavu Ventures became one of your investors. Cavu Ventures, who we're chatting with this week, is very strategic in the way in which they guide their portfolio companies in operating on Amazon and e-commerce retailers like Amazon. Every VC I'm sure you've spoken to says, we're not just money, we're quite strategic with the capital that we provide you. And I would probably say in 90% of the instances, it's just money. How is Cavu different, and how have they been accretive to your business aside from the capital they provided you?
Cavu's been an amazing partner. We've definitely heard from friends, from other founders, from peers, you name it, that we're a value add partner. And I think Cavu's really been that value add partner for us, from helping with critical hiring decisions to recruiting to their uncommon agency. Really amazing support on the marketing and branding front, and on the Amazon front, where I'm the closest to it. They've really built an amazing team and capability in-house, and we've really doubled down and leveraged that team to help build our Amazon business. They've built an amazing relationship with Amazon advertising, Amazon ops side of things, and we have real humans that can help us get things done at Amazon versus just filing thousands of tickets through seller support, which we still have to do. But it's been really great building relationships with people at Amazon that are supporting the Kavu businesses, helping guide our decision making around advertising, video, all of these things. And I would say that's been like a huge advantage for us and a really great value add from Kavu as a partner.
Since moving there, has there been one resounding change in perspective that Kavu has ingrained in you that's, oh, I now think about things differently because of this?
I'd say Kavu was very supportive and helpful in our strategic decision to really focus on Amazon over D2C.
I'd love to get into that in a little bit.
We needed a little bit of a push to get there.
After Packable, post Kavu, you began working with Ocean Wing. And not many people know what Ocean Wing is, but it's a very well-known agency on another continent. Do you think you can fill us in on who Ocean Wing is and why you ultimately were intrigued by what they could offer you?
Yeah. So Ocean Wing is Anchor's full service agency that they launched relatively recently.
And Anchor is...
We all probably have an Anchor product.
Yes.
They are the number one electronic seller on Amazon. I have many chargers from them, some vacuums. Really, they do everything and do it really well. And they've been an amazing partner for us. We've been super happy with that decision. What they are well known for is, besides selling all these amazing products, they've been really supportive for Vital Proteins.
Got it.
And Vital Proteins' business on Amazon. And we looked at that, and Kavu, of course, was involved from that perspective and had some really great things to say about Anchor and Ocean Wing. We grilled them really hard. It was a very long RFP process, a lot of really great potential partners involved, but ultimately we made the decision to go with them based on the strength of what they've done for their brands and at Vital Proteins, and we're super happy with the decision.
And so you've now been through a variety of agencies, a variety of distributors and partners in this space. If you're talking to an agency leader and if you're advising a CEO of an agency looking to win Beekeeper's business, what would be your top tips on what you should focus on to pitch a brand like yourself to win over that business?
Great question. I think for us, there was a few things that were super important. I think full service was key.
And the definition of full service in this space
full
is...
service, supporting from the ops front, inventory, demand planning side of thing, shipping into Amazon and timing that. I think a lot of agencies are really strong at AMS, which is almost table stakes now. And being able to do that full service support, we all know how critical inventory and being in stock and available on your listings is to ranking, the algorithm, you name it. And so somebody that can be supportive from that front, I think is super helpful. And I would say, again, AMS, table stakes. There's, of course, lots of cool stuff you can do there. We all love ROAS. Well, I love it more than you. But DSP and really being able to tell a story there. I think still a lot of agencies are probably more focused on AMS, as they should be, a larger percentage of a marketing budget for most Amazon brands. But being able to tell the story about D2C and how to leverage that full funnel. And I think AMC is still in its early days. I would say it's few and far between which agencies have capabilities on the AMC front. A lot of them are probably leveraging partners, but being able to guide the partners or you name it and really use that to tell a data story, I think is going to be more and more important in the years to come.
I got another ratio question for you. So you mentioned sponsored ads and DSP. How do you think about that ratio now? And how did you think about that ratio 3 years ago?
Well, I would say the ratio was very heavy sponsored products 3 years ago.
Sponsored ads in general.
In general. And getting closer to, not even, but it's a lot closer than it was. And we also view sponsored brand video as like a top of funnel tactic with video there, not as focused on ROAS.
Okay. So you mentioned when you began working with Kavu, there was a renewed focus on the Amazon business relative to D2C.
Not right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
It took some time.
Yeah.
What was the learning process there? And what made you begin to say, okay, we're in, this is a really, really good strategy that we want to lean into?
I think really one of the key things was the dreaded iOS 14 words that I don't think has affected Amazon anything like it has a D2C business and Facebook or some of these other advertising tactics and all the additional focus on privacy and privacy laws. So that really started to move the needle for us, seeing the efficiency of our Facebook ads really be impacted negatively.
So this incredible distribution channel to D2C started to evaporate almost overnight, in which you weren't able to measure the effectiveness of this, and you were thinking like, hey, should we be investing in this anymore?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's been a story for a lot of D2C brands. There's arguments around linear regression models or other types of modeling to do, where even though if you're not tracking it in Facebook or in GA or your data warehouse through whatever last click or multi-click model you're looking at, there's some arguments to support Facebook spending around that. But I think from our perspective, we had to really be thoughtful around where are we going to spend our next dollar. And that led us back to really looking at Amazon, where we're seeing great success, great efficiency. And that's when we started to really focus on DSP as well. We had been doing a whole bunch there, but that's where we started to focus more on that sort of brand building, full funnel approach, supporting Amazon.
And around this time also, I believe that you began to have a retail first strategy outside of the lens of e-commerce. What is a retail first strategy for a brand like yourself, and how has that impacted your e-commerce channels, whether it be Amazon or D2C?
Yeah. So I think this few things here. One, this all comes back to the customer and where do they want to shop. Think about yourself. I know for me, I'm shopping in a Whole Foods, sometimes picking up something at CVS or Walgreens before I go on a trip.
Don't forget about Erewhon.
Definitely always at Erewhon, more often than not. And buying on Amazon. And even buying from certain brands, D2C websites usually where they don't have an Amazon presence. So I think it's being where the consumer is, and they want to buy everywhere these days. People aren't just buying on one channel. I don't think I buy a ton on Amazon. I'm getting packages every day, most likely, but I still buy in all these different places. And even some of the brands I buy on Amazon, I'm buying in all these different places. So you need to be there where the consumer is. I think retail first, just coming back to that, we were focused on retail prior to all of this stuff happening with iOS 14, you name it. It was an important part of our strategy early on. And I think we were, from that perspective, lucky. And lucky is probably not the word, but it was a good decision for us, because I think after iOS 14, a lot of these D2C brands were like, holy shit, we need to launch in retail and do it reactively versus proactively.
But you were slowly building up to that. It wasn't like retail immediately, snap of a finger. There was a slow buildup.
Yeah, I think it was a slow buildup just by virtue of retail in general. It's a lot longer lead times, talking to buyers, resets, and kind of category review timing and things like that. You can't just snap your finger and launch in a retailer with most of the big guys. That it was a focus for us, but Whole Foods was really that first key partner for us. And we really built a relationship there with the buyer. Carly and our retail team have done an amazing job there, and really building that relationship where we're now launching new innovation with them, talking with them early on in the innovation journey.
New innovation with Whole Foods mean exactly?
I think we bring them into our product pipeline early on and show them what we're thinking about, what the consumer's telling us they want to see. They're telling us what they're seeing from their side of things, what they think the consumer wants and their specific consumer wants. And I think that's really important for a strategic retailer relationship.
And so if Whole Foods was the first pillar retail relationship that you had, what were the next cascading retail relationships that we were like, okay, we got some momentum here. This is very good.
Say Erewhon a couple of years ago believed in us. Okay. So let's give Erewhon a shout out there. Target has been that next one.
Great.
For us.
Yeah. And many D2C brands have that same relationship with Target. Target invests pretty early on. I don't want to call you a D2C brand. Maybe
you dare.
Emerging brand. Maybe many emerging brands that didn't think retail first. Target's one of those pillar relationships.
Target is no doubt a great retailer to believe in earlier stage emerging brands. Maybe there's not a ton of data in the retail world yet for them, and they'll take a chance, believe in the brand, the story, the product, you name it. And yeah, Target has been an amazing partner for us, and we're really focusing on building that relationship and growing with them and giving them and their consumers what they want.
So now we're wrapping up 2022, and in this world of Beekeepers Naturals being a retail first brand, and we're talking about ratios, How do you think about the distribution of sales across retail, Amazon, and D2C as three big quadrants for ratios? You don't need to say numbers, but if you can
Ratios and quadrants.
If you can be as rough as possible, I guess that's not a quadrant because it's three. But if you can guide us in how you think about the distribution of your sales across those three channels, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I think this will be the no ratios or quadrants here, but the one thing I will say is this will be the first year that Amazon surpasses D2C in our company history. The way your company's staffed, the way you think about things, it's a huge strategic shift, and we're super pumped about it and excited to continue to double down.
Got it. And if you were to advise other emerging CPG brands that are going through this transformation from D2C to Amazon as a primary channel, what would be that piece of advice that you would say to other emerging brand leaders? Don't be afraid. Amazon is not evil.
That would be the first thing I would say. I'd also say talk to Perpetua.
Sure.
But I think as amazing as Amazon is, it's also tough. The algorithm really builds on itself. There's a lot of massive brands that have a ton of really good reviews that are entrenched. And there's a lot of brands that have been successful, but I think being a challenger brand and expecting it to happen quickly on Amazon is really not easy in this day and age. But what I would say is maybe the reasons you wouldn't launch on Amazon before, from brand building to data and owning the customer, quote unquote. I think that's one I hear a lot. Those are things that you can now accomplish on Amazon. And the idea of maybe owning the customer isn't as critical as you think it is, and people want to buy where they want to buy. You likely buy on Amazon all the time, and so it's really being there for your consumer wherever they want to buy, whatever reason or time is, I think is super important, and Amazon is no doubt a part of that customer journey now.
And so the Beekeeper's Naturals product line began with one incredible product. I use it every single day, twice. I use it when I brush my teeth. It's a propolis product that you spray in your throat and mouth. I can say that I don't think I've gotten sick aside from the 2 times I've had COVID since I've been propping every day. That began as a hero product for beekeepers and continues to be a hero product. I'd love to know how you've thought about evolving your product line to be complementary to the propolis. What were the next stages of flagship products for beekeepers? And how did you think about introducing those products across the distribution channels that we've discussed today?
It all started with the propolis spray. Our hero for our firstborn child, now #1 in cold and flu and all cough and cold very recently. Congrats. The only natural product in the top 20. We're super proud of that. And when we thought about building out our line, again, a lot of this is driven by the customer. I feel like I'm being...
You're coached very well by your CMO.
No, we love our customers. All of us. One of our principles. But really thinking about what do they want, and that's through conversations, whether it's in person at shows. In the early days, we did a lot of farmers markets, really having that direct feedback loop and dialogue with your customers. Now we have lots through email, DM, you name it. And for us, it was supporting all these different areas where customers have their concerns, from immune to gut health to brain health to energy, all these different areas that are affecting people's lives. How do we support them and give them products that can help them feel their best?
I think one of the most impactful or the most exciting product launches from my perspective for your product line has been the lozengers. The lozengers are something that many, many people buy a lot of every single day. It's a highly competitive category with some very, very big players that you're now playing. Why was lozengers a really, really big bet for you? And how has the success been of that product line?
Obsessed with the lozenges. It's been an amazing product for us. I think when we were thinking about launching that product, of course, customer feedback, propolis. We spoke a little bit about propolis before. That is in it's almost every one of our products and a key hero ingredient. And so building out around that was an important part of it. But when we came to the lozenges, we were thinking about not everybody wants to spray, and there's different times where you'll take a lozenge. And so we built this amazing product that not only is soothing, but it's also supporting your immune system. We have propolis, zinc, and vitamin D in there, along with honey and some other awesome ingredients. Not just thinking about reactive, we're also being proactive there. So you can take these every single day. They're delicious. they only have 1 gram of sugar. That actually took us a really long time to get right because most of the products on the market have 3 to 4 grams of sugar. And we went to all these contract manufacturers making the lozenges, and it was pretty much you have to use cane sugar, brown rice syrup, glucose syrup. If you want to be healthier or natural, we can do it with coconut sugar. For us, it was we had to go back to the drawing board and really develop this from scratch.
And that product actually has evolved over the past year since its initial launch, primarily out of feedback from reviews that you've got on Amazon.
Yeah, we're working on the Amazon reviews, no doubt. I think we're going to be tracking up hopefully very soon with the new and improved formula. But yeah, we got a lot of feedback around them being a little, I'd say, rough around the edges. And that was from the fact that we were using propolis powder extract versus liquid. So we switched to liquid, and it's an extremely smooth lozenge now. And we hope our customers will be super happy about that change.
Is that done, like, I imagine
14 a day.
I imagine you're getting lots of reviews. You're a popular brand with lots of products. How do you and your team analyze those reviews at scale so it's insightful? Or is it just Daniel incessantly refreshing Amazon and looking at every single review and sending angry emails? Which
you will go crazy if you read all the reviews, because when you're so passionate about something and you know how much it helps others, sometimes you read those negative reviews and it crushes your souls. We do a sort of meta-analysis, if you will, of the reviews and pull out certain keywords and things like that to see what's happening. What are people super happy about? Maybe we want to elevate that in some of our marketing messaging. What are people upset about? Can we address that? You name it. I think one of the tough things with Amazon is you want to talk to the customer and help make it right. We have 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. We'll always refund it, send them a new product, whatever it is. But with Amazon, sometimes things through FBA and consumables aren't eligible for a refund. So we get a lot of complaints that this isn't a refundable product, which it is. But if they need to come to us, sometimes because of just the way Amazon's set up. And two, all these people, I don't even know what the percentage is. It's probably 75% plus of blocked communication on Amazon. So we can't even respond to their negative review or email them Amazon to let them know that we're sorry to hear they had an issue. We'd love to make it right. And you can't do that. That's been, unfortunately, a tough thing because there's all these reviews, not even about not liking the product. It arrived broken, which wouldn't even be our responsibility, if you will, but we will make it right, and we can't.
And so the product line is obviously evolving, and you mentioned how important brand is for you and your business. You're wearing a Save the Bees shirt, which is lovely. Why is Save the Bees important?
Saving the bees, I think, is super important. And from the start, this has been a core part of what we're doing and educating people around it. A lot of people aren't sure why it's important. Why do they care? Most people remember getting stung as a child and have this negative association with bees, which, side note, it's usually wasps or hornets that are around causing those issues. But bees are critical to our food supply and our environment. They're really the pillar of many local ecosystems, cross-pollinating flowers and plants, which are resulting in food and things like that for other animals and insects in the ecosystem. And for us as humans, bees really are responsible for pollinating about a third of our food supply. And there's certain things like avocados and almonds, both very in right now, which are 100% reliant on bee pollination. And then there's other things like tons of fruits and vegetables, even coffee and cotton, that with bee pollination, the yields of these crops increase. And the amount of times I've heard stories recently about somebody getting a hive near their neighbor's yard or in their yard in their garden, and everything was, they've never seen it like that before. I've been hearing that more and more these days. And so ultimately, if we care about our environment, if we care about our food supply, we need the bees really there. And I think there's a famous quote that's been attributed to Albert Einstein: if the bees die, humans have 4 years left to live.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Save the bees.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that's good. I want to talk about one more product line that you've recently launched, and that is, for lack of a better word, I apologize if this is not the proper designation of this, but you're quickly getting into supplements.
The S word?
Yeah. So you have a probiotic product, a probiotic and a prebiotic product. And I believe you have an
postbiotic.
I didn't even know there was a post. And you have an allergy product as well. Those are such competitive categories owned by such massive businesses. I understand the very natural progression of, hey, you have honey as a root product. Honey's very soothing for your throat. Lozenges, totally get it. Makes a ton of sense. These other product lines are, whoa, like, why should I trust Beekeeper's Naturals with probiotic and prebiotic and allergen products? How do you think about emerging into these categories, and how do you tell your customer you should trust us for these things relative to other folks that have been doing this for quite some time?
Great question. And everything we do is rooted in science and third-party accredited studies, and that's where we start everything, looking at all these different amazing ingredients, what kind of research is out there on these things, and then building our products around that. And like I said, it always starts with bee propolis, an amazing ingredient, been around for centuries, and tons of research on antimicrobial, inflammatory effects and things like that. It's such a sort of Swiss Army knife in the world of natural health and what it can do for us. And so we base a lot of the products around that as a core, and then other ingredients are added in there. For example, for our gut health product, we added these amazing spore-based probiotics that don't break down until they're all the way through your gut. And we added this postbiotic, which is a new amazing type of ingredient I think you'll hear more and more about, which is super important for gut health and has been a little forgot about. And with our sinus support product, we have some amazing things like nettle and bromelain and other things like that in there, which are super important for sinus support and feeling your best. We actually launched a nasal spray, and we added some really cool stuff in there, not just a saline spray as is common on the market. We added in propolis again, some really amazing benefits, and xylitol, which is shown to help like clear congestion and free up mucus, if you will, and allow you to really blow your nose and clear your sinuses.
And so when you expand to these product lines, and given that Amazon is such an important channel for you, to what extent are you researching the players that are winning the top turn? You're identifying the flagship keywords, so to speak, on Amazon. You're determining organic rank. How are you assessing the competitive set and being like, hey, I think we can go after this one? Or, hey, I think this is a really, really big category on Amazon. How are you taking a more data-driven approach into new product expansion on Amazon?
Odds are, for where we're playing, it's a massive category on Amazon. I think we're doing a pretty deep analysis around how distributed is, let's say, the top 10 in terms of like revenue, things like that. Is it a little more equal? Is it like one or two really a step ahead of others?
To get nerdy, like what data sets are you using there to determine that?
We're not going to say those all out loud, but there's a lot of great tools out there you can use and bring stuff together to see. And I think we're also looking at CPCs in the category, length of time certain brands have been on Amazon for, and have there been any that have risen up the ranks, if you will, more recently, and looking at all this data to understand what is the opportunity on Amazon and maybe how quickly is it achievable. But then again, that's one thing we bring into our innovation process. But ultimately, if our customers want a product, we believe we can deliver an amazing, effective, natural product. We're going to launch that product and build a brand around it, as we always do. And we have lots of customers that trust us to be there for them for all these different needs. And that's not going to preclude us from launching something, but we understand that it can sometimes take longer to climb up the ranks, if you will, on Amazon.
Cool. So we've spoken about the evolution of your partners, the evolution of your distribution strategy, the evolution of your product line. I'd like to learn more about the evolution of yourself, Daniel, on this journey.
Recovering corporate lawyer turned beekeeper.
Obviously, you're a co-founder of this business and you've worn many hats. You've now taken on the role of Chief Growth Officer. I think one of the most interesting things as you begin to scale a business is when to take off a certain hat that you were proud of the work that you were doing and give it to someone else. How has that journey gone for you? What's some hats that you've given away, and why did you know that was the right time for you?
Great question. I think that we always think about hiring people smarter than us to do things better than us. And it's always easier said than done. I think when time comes to take off the hat, if you will, and give it to somebody else, it's an amazing feeling having somebody that you can trust. But certain people, maybe like myself, takes a little bit longer to trust. And so being able to truly delegate and empower and entrust them to do the job versus micromanage, if you will, that's been a really important journey for me to get there. And having people that you can trust is the best feeling in the world. From my journey perspective, we've probably worn almost every hat at the company, pounding the pavement at farmers markets down at King and Wellington or wherever we are down there in Toronto Bay and King. Initially, I was our chief operating officer, so I was really focused on building our supply chain, ensuring sustainability of our apiary, which is hive partners, teaching them how to collect propolis sustainably and things like that, and testing quality, all of that, scaling our supply chain with our manufacturing partners. Again, I did that because I had to do it. We needed somebody to do it. I immersed myself in it, learned how to do it. And thank God we brought in somebody way smarter than me with a lot more experience to run that part of the business. And no doubt I still am there to support and maybe problem solve or troubleshoot. I know so much about the bee products and hive partners and how to truly vet them. So I am still there for key things, but that allowed me to now really focus and immerse myself in the world of Amazon and, of course, e-commerce and data and things like that. But I'm really focusing on Amazon, and it's been an amazing thing. And hopefully soon I can then bring in somebody smarter than me to run this and support them and go tackle whatever other challenge or thing we're trying to do.
Why is this the hat that you like wearing now?
Yeah, I think Amazon's a lot of fun, and you get a direct feedback loop. And I think it's not for everybody, but I love to be able to see the benefits and results of my actions quickly. And with Amazon, you can get data and data points really quickly when you make a change. Oh, we changed PDP or our listing with premium A+ content, and you can see the conversion rate almost changing in real time. And so I like that direct feedback loop that is quick and lots of data to really support that versus maybe something that's a little bit more intangible.
Fun.
It sounds fun.
It is fun. That is fun. Nearing the end here, I'm going to close with the question that we ask everyone. If you can make a prediction for 2023 on e-commerce advertising and retail media, what would your prediction be?
I hope this year is the year where TikTok becomes a lot more robust.
Ooh, go on. Go on.
In the world of whether it's e-commerce or even anybody building a brand, people just throw around the word TikTok and think that is what's winning. And there's a lot of brands that no doubt have done an amazing job on TikTok, but I think TikTok advertising, the capabilities, I think are still in their early days. I'm sure they have an amazing team there working on it, amazing company, amazing platform. But I think what we had learned and come to expect from, let's say, Facebook and Google, TikTok's just not there yet. So I'm hoping.
What is it that it's missing? Measurements, targeting capabilities?
I think all of those things.
All of the above. And the TikTok ads that you've run, what are the specific ad units that you've experimented with thus far?
I think we've done most of them.
Yeah.
We found some that are working, but I think no doubt a really great platform where people are consuming content, and hopefully they can continue to build out capabilities that advertisers and brands are asking for, and it can be a great place to really continue to double down.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things about TikTok right now is that for brands like yourself who now get the lion's share of their e-commerce sales coming from Amazon, I like to begin to tell people that creator campaigns and listing creators and the extent to which you boost that with TikTok's advertising suite of products is almost like a part of retail media. People talk about social commerce, and there's these agencies that are social commerce focused. And then retail media is this interesting beast, which is Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, Target, and other retail media partners. I'm now of the view that TikTok is retail media because it drives sales and it drives traffic to these retail partners much more so than D2C partners if most of your sales are coming to them. I believe that people need to start thinking about this in that way and not put it as a separate budget. In your world, when you think about these budgets and you think about creator campaigns, I think we asked this question around brand building and DSP budgets, but where do these budgets sit and how do you think about making it integrated within the full Amazon strategy?
Yeah. We spoke about ROAS before, and if you're looking at TikTok advertising and ROAS, you are going to be very sad and think you should not spend any money on TikTok advertising. So I think you have to look at all these other metrics we talk about around engagement and things like that. But to me, it's a part of a brand and a video budget that we were talking about that's very top of funnel, that's helping people connect with the brand. What you were saying about TikTok and in-store sales, a lot of really successful viral brands that have done well on TikTok, it's usually driving these crazy lines in person at a store, starting on TikTok. That's just showing that people are going to buy these things in person, whether it's in store, whether it's a pop-up, you name it. I think you're trying to track things online is always going to be tough. And when you're driving, let's just say from offline to Amazon, there's still a lot left to be desired there with the attribution as well.
Totally. But more to come.
Fingers crossed.
Daniel, thanks so much. Really appreciate you being here. This was awesome.
Pleasure. Thanks, Adam.
In the next episode,
without growth, companies are not able to deliver continuous increases in sales and returns for shareholders. But where does the growth come from, especially in extremely large companies where a reasonable growth rate can mean millions or even billions of dollars in additional revenue per year? So the approach I took with the growth hacking mindset was to focus on granularity by breaking down the high-level strategy into its smallest and most relevant components. From there, just really focus on uncovering pockets of opportunities where we needed to dig down to deeper levels of our business. So in a nutshell, we need to analyze our business at a very granular level, both in how we allocate our money and our time. And this approach requires a lot of experimentation.
Join us in the next episode for a chat with Paras Shah, Director of Omnichannel Shopper Marketing at Georgia Pacific. The episode drops March 16th. This is Growth Sessions, a podcast to fuel your e-commerce growth. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.